Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to Coach Unplugged. And now, your host, Steve Collins.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coach Unplugged. I'm so happy you decided to join us. Before we get started today, I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish, the #1 shooting machine in the market. I've said this multiple times. We own 3 of them. I want a 4th and a 5th. My AAD's listening to me, but they're so great. They work so well. They're so easy to set up. I think my record is 37 seconds or 32 seconds to set it up. But mention Coach Unplugged, they'll give you $450 off. Mention Coach Collins, they'll take really good care of you. And also go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. This is a one-stop shop for basketball coaches. It's everything you need from a nationally ranked. We won 3 state titles. I think we were just talking recently. We've won over 460 games in our program and lost 130 over the last 20 years. And I think we know the secret sauce to be successful, the roadmap, what it takes on and off the court. So go over and check it out and enjoy the podcast. Bye. All right. Welcome to High School Hoops. Coach Barker, welcome.
How are you today?
Co-hosting with Coach Collins. We've been talking for an hour, so I feel like I know him. That's why I like doing that beforehand. So before we jump in today to our podcast, I'd like a big shout out to our sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish, the #1 shooting machine on the market. In my opinion, do you have a Dr. Dish, Coach?
Yes, we do. Yep.
You do?
We have 2 of them. Yep.
2. There you go. Listening, Dr. Dish. Mention High School Hoops and you get $450 off. And then also go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. I've got 2 kids in college and I want to take my wife out to Chipotle, not Taco Bell. The coach likes Taco Bell. So we're not going to go to Taco Bell, but maybe Chipotle. I can take my wife out to Chipotle. So go over and check out Teach Hoops. I'm actually redoing the site right now. I'm hiring somebody to do it. So we're going to give it a new look. It hasn't had a new look since the last time we had state tournament. So I'm hoping maybe that will get us back there again. All right. So today's topic is, this is coach's idea. Having parents on your coaching staff. Good topic, I think, especially for high school coaches or any high school coach. I'm going to let you talk, and I definitely have some opinions on this too, having coached, like you said, having coached my own son. But what's your thoughts, Coach?
Yeah, I think there's just some areas that you kind of need to be cognizant or aware of as a coach when making these decisions. And, I did not have a parent on staff my first 4 seasons as a head varsity coach. This past year was the first year. And one of those things I think you need to be aware of is where their son or daughter is in the program in terms of what grade, but also in terms of what ability and skill they're at. A little background. So the parent that came on staff, her daughter started the first It was the start of her junior season. She started all 50 games of her high school career. So I think that's kind of something to be aware of, right? It's not someone that's a freshman coming in fighting for minutes. It's someone that was a starter for
Yep.
2 straight years. So that's just one area to be aware
So
of.
no one, great Aunt
Mhm.
Sally sitting in the third row is going to question why. Is yes, I think that's important. There's
Yep.
no ambiguity. I would agree.
hmm
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So the other area too, I think, is has that parent been involved with these players in the past? Why I think that's important is because, in the case that I'm referring to, she was, and she coached them all the way up. So you kind of know from others, and also I had three parents approach me because they knew I had an opening on staff, saying, "Hey, you need to get her to join the staff." So there's a lot of positives you're hearing. A lot of the players speak highly of them, and I think that's something that you really want to do and be aware of. So that's just one area. Like,
Do
hey,
you
as
think
this
she'll
coach,
stay after her daughter leaves?
we've had those discussions, and I think as long as I'm there, she will.
Okay, that'd be
I
great.
and
Yeah.
I do believe that. She loves the game. Her dad was a coach. She's
Okay.
always been around it.
Oh, if her
So
dad was a coach, then she's got it in her blood at that point.
yeah, yep.
Um, so I think Coach, this is my personal opinion. I think you
Mhm.
hit on a couple key components. First of all, I'm gonna just be real. You have kids, right?
Yeah, young,
Okay.
but
Young, but how many? Two?
eventually, two, yeah,
Two. So you
kindergartner and a first grader.
okay, so you have two young ones, and I have
Yep.
two young, and I have two old ones.
hmm
Anyway, um, couple things. First of all, we love our kids.
hmm
Everybody does. Um, and it is really hard as a parent to coach your kids,
hmm
and to have a from someone that did it. I coached my son in 4 volleyball seasons and 2 basketball seasons. It was 6 high school varsity seasons. That's hard to
hmm
not be dad and to be coach. Because that dad, I, I remember one of my assistants saying at some point, not to me, but about someone else, another parent that wasn't coaching, said this parent, she said she would eat you, Steve, before she let anything happen to her child. Like
hmm
she would like rip your head off and eat you before. And it's like that always comes back in my head. It's like, yes, you're always dad first,
hmm
coach second. You're always dad first. So it's really hard. So for me, it was really important to have people around me that were telling me the truth and
hmm
telling me where they saw that my child. And I know I was harder on him than anybody else. Just by kind of some of the conversations that me and some of my assistants would have, like, you need to put Drew in, blah, blah, blah.
Question for you: do you think that's different with you being the head coach instead of the parent being an assistant? That would, I guess, alleviate
I
some of
it
those
would
final decisions,
it
right?
would alleviate final decisions, which I think would make it easier as long as you
hmm
knew they had your back.
Yeah.
You're always worried about the little whether they have your back. Um, and again, I think it's a little bit different. Let's say here's where I think one of the differences is. I'm the head coach, you're the assistant, and your kid's in 6th grade.
hmm
Great. And we are coaching together. Your kid's in 6th grade, your kid's in 7th grade, your kid's in 8th grade. And then all of a sudden, your kid is in 9th grade. You and I have already been coaching together for 4 years.
hmm
So by that point, you probably know my rhythm. I know your rhythm. You know how I'm going to handle it if, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. So I think that's a little bit easier too.
hmm
Because I've seen that a lot of times assistant coaches have kids coming up. Great. Um, I to be honest, I cut one of my assistant coaches' kids early in my career,
hmm
and it was not an easy thing. But in what I do it in retrospect, I probably wouldn't have cut him in retrospect. I probably would have kept him, and he probably would have understood his role. But I
hmm
was young and it was early in my career, and I was feeling like I had to make anyway.
Yeah.
Retrospect is a lot of things. I think it's a very landmine filled area and you can do it. And it sounds like
hmm
you got a good one that's kind of working, but there can be a lot of landmines in that for the people. I'm just saying, think of all the high school coaches that are listening to this. I know the
Yeah.
number of downloads. There can be pluses and minuses, and you have to go into it with open mind and open eyes.
Yeah. One thing
Like,
I
make
think
sure
it
there's no hidden agendas, is what I'm telling you.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that really is important is how many, like, with being a parent, is it the assistant, not as the head coach, how many other assistants and what role is that assistant play
Yes.
in the program? I think that's another aspect. One of the
Right.
biggest
Are they a
pros.
sophomore coach or a freshman coach? It might, and
Yep.
they're not sitting on your bench. It might be a totally different thing.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as they're sitting on your bench, I think that the eye optics change a little bit
Correct.
too at that point too.
One of
You
the
have to worry
biggest,
about optics.
yeah, one of the biggest positives is it's hard to find coaches that are invested. And when it's a
Yes.
parent, they're invested, right? They
Too
have,
much sometimes, but yes.
yes, sometimes true. And also depending where you're at, it's, I mean, it's difficult to find, good assistants that know the game of basketball. So that's
Yes.
why I think it's more things like you said, like landmines, what do you need to be aware of? Because in some situations, in some school districts, it is your best option, right?
Right. Right. And I'm not
So,
saying you don't do it. I'm just
yep,
saying I think you have to know what you're walking into.
100% agree.
That's
Yep.
and again, I've seen it work and I've seen it not work. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I have seen it more blow up when it's the head coach. I've seen it more blow up when the head coach's kid is the seventh best player and they're playing 30 minutes a game.
Yeah.
That's a little bit bigger issue, I think.
Mm-hmm.
From but you're talking more as on the staff, on having an assistant. I think it's again, and especially in smaller towns, it is your best option, probably
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
Yep. The last thing I'll say on it is be aware of the impact it may have on the player. Like, is that parent always helping and watching film with the player, but now that they're on staff, they're going to separate themselves from that, right? Because a lot of parents that coach their kids are like, hey, as soon as we get in the car or as soon as we walk in the door, I'm
I'm
dad, I'm
done. I
mom,
know.
right?
That was our
So
rule. That was our rule.
that
Our
could
rule was as soon as we left practice, because it
Yep.
used to be car. It used to be walking the house, and then you'd
Mm-hmm.
hear an earful on the way home. It's like, well, that ain't.
So question for you, how much do you think, if you weren't your son's coach, could you have helped him that you didn't because you didn't want to blur those lines? I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at,
I
right?
think I could have more.
Yep.
Um,
But you didn't want to blur the lines of
I
coach and dad.
didn't. I didn't because I'm dad. Like I'm
Yep.
dad now, so I don't really care. Like whatever. If I had
Mm-hmm.
to make a mistake, that's the way I was going to make the mistake.
Oh, I
'Cause I'm
agree.
always
Yep.
going to be dad. I'm not always going
Mm-hmm.
to be coach. And he still loves the game, and he still likes playing, and he
Mm-hmm.
still thinks I should have played him in game X, Y, and Z or whatever. That's fine. I live with that.
Yep.
He's always going to think that. But and maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no blur on that father-son relationship is strong.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And that's what's
and
important at
that's
the
what's
end of the
important. That's
day.
all I
Yep.
care about. I don't the other whatever.
Yep.
It's like basketball game. But yeah, I think that's what would your bit of advice be, Coach?
I would say just understand the actual dynamics of that player, what friend group,
Yeah, and I think the assistant coach
mm-hmm.
parent with the other players dynamic could be an issue
Correct.
too. Like
Yep.
Johnny's always been an asshole.
And that's why I said,
Yeah.
has the coach coached that group previously? And what are the comments or feedback that you've heard about them? Right. So I had 3 parents come to me and say, hey, you need to get her on staff. Players were saying you had to get her. So it's like, it's a no brainer. Right. And I mean, I watched them coach for 2, 3 years and there was no red flags in my eyes. So that's something where I think at the end of the day, you have to weigh out all the options. And as a coach and a person, what are you most comfortable with? Are there going to be awkward times? There was plenty of awkward times. But at the end of the day, we both as coaches understood each other, right? And I mean, what I mean by awkward times, like, hey, there was games where, she has kind of the opinion, hey, maybe leave her in a little bit longer. And I'm like, nope, what is, so it's just, it
Yeah.
won't be comfortable at all times, but you just have to understand that when you're
And
getting
as long as
into
they
it.
know you're coming from
Yep.
an area of love and caring,
Mm-hmm.
that's what the parent needs to know. And if they know that,
Yep.
then you're fine.
And you can't not talk about their kid, right?
Right.
Because like if they're, obviously they're around and you're not talking about their kid, then they're like, wait, you know what I mean? You have to talk about them like you would any other kid. And that's what I mean. Sometimes you're saying, hey, your daughter's not performing, which
Right.
maybe they don't want to hear it. But
Why is Susie having a bad day today? Did she flunk her algebra test? Blah, 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 blah. Like the discussions coaches have, it's like,
but you have to have the relationships with your assistant coaches. And, I think all the coaches out there kind of understand, I guess, what you need from a coach and the dynamics of the team. And the more of that, ahead of time, the better position you'll be in to, make that decision.
100% agree. All right. Till next week, Coach. Hey, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. If you want to support us, you want to help us keep the lights on here at teachhoops.com, go over, join, 14-day free trial, and then stop the car, subscribe, like, Apple 5-star review. That would be good. All right. Maybe. Have a good day. Bye.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Memorial Day doorbuster deals are here at Lowe's. Right now, Rewards members save $80 on the Master Forge 4-burner gas grill, now just $149. Plus, Rewards members save $900 on the Lowe's exclusive Hisense French door refrigerator, now only $999. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/26. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Subject to change.